What up, this your boy Kenneth Stones, aka Kofi Weasons, one half of the Dirty Hills podcast, and you are watching the 1130 podcast. Not 730, but he is 730. But you watching my guy Dre from the 1130 podcast. Man, make sure y'all hit that like, share, subscribe button. And this is Dirty Hills Approved.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre your Willsy is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. No, who with me? Yeah. I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dre your Willsy is the one.
He the one, nigga.
So let's get it, baby.
He the one.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. This is episode 62 of the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. What's good, everybody doing out there? Appreciate you guys joining me back here on this Friday. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world. Appreciate you guys joining me back here for some Talk Pro Wrestling. If you're listening to me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio this morning or on this Friday, thank you guys for coming back to the podcast. Or if you're on YouTube, thank you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the 1130 podcast YouTube channel if you're new to the channel, and also like it, leave a comment, and also don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, I'm back here on some Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Like I said, it's Friday, man, to talk my crap, man. I got an awesome guest, you guys. Awesome guest with me lined up this Friday on the podcast. My guy Sam, you guys, he's a former pro wrestler. He's here to chat some pro wrestling here with me this Friday. But before we get into that, shout out my guest who was on last week, Eli Gutty. Thank you for being on the show, my guy. But you guys, like I said, let's get into the show, man. We ain't gonna waste no more time. My man Sam, how's it going, bro?
Oh man, it's good to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me, dude. So you told me Eddie Torres was on here.
Yes, Eddie Torres was on here. I think it was late last year, a little bit late last year, around October, November, and it was really cool to have him on. I was reaching out, of course, to a lot of independent pro wrestlers, you know, who've been working the independent scene and stuff. And this was really heavily in the midst of the pandemic and stuff. So
let me tell you something, bro. If you want someone to talk to, someone who's got a million stories, and he's my former tag partner. We won the NWA Florida tag titles, and now, like, this far in his game, he is just killing it. His name's David Mercury, and like his gimmick right now, he's just killing it. You got to talk to that guy.
Okay, that's cool. I would definitely, you guys go back and listen to the episode with Eddie Torres, man, or, you know, follow him on social media. How did you guys meet?
Oh, so like I said, my tag partner was David Mercury, and David Mercury and Eddie Torres, they go way back. I'm talking about way back to the backyard, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I mean, they've got old videos of those two, I don't know, smashing tables and acting foolish and all that. So when I got into wrestling, I trained under Steve Kern. You know Steve Kern?
The name sounds real familiar.
Oh, as a wrestling fan, you gotta know Kern. But a gimmick he did in WWE, like he did Skinner. Maybe you know Skinner.
I think yes.
Yeah, but he was more in the indie scene. So David Mercury and I, we trained with Steve Kern, and then afterwards we were hitting up that Florida scene. And the thing is, I don't know how much you know about backstage stuff, but there's a lot of politics. There's a lot of egos. And so to run into someone like Eddie Torres, also his tag partner, Damian Angel, and David Mercury, like those are three good dudes. Those are dudes that I would ride with till the end.
Hey, that's cool. That's really cool, man. Eddie Torres always talk about, you know, on the indie scene and wrestling some great guys, man. But I'm saying, man, I appreciate you joining me on the podcast this week. For all my listeners and viewers who are not familiar with you, you mind telling them something cool about you, telling them something about you?
Yeah. So I got to be honest, dude. I got to be a little careful because I am currently a school owner, a camp owner. I have my own podcast. Check out the Nostalgia Cafe. If you're over 35, you will love that show, the Nostalgia Cafe. But before, when I was a wrestler, man, I was crazy, dude. I was kind of like, what's the guy's name who's the bro right now?
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle. Like when I watch Matt Riddle now, I'm like, dang, we could have been tagging. That was me back in the day. So I don't know, like a lot of times I like to separate my wrestling from my current career. But back in the day, yeah, so I trained with Steve Kern. I was all over Florida. I did some other traveling too, but NWA Florida was probably one of the top places. Really, if it has 3 letters and they did pro wrestling, I was there in Florida. I miss it, man. It was the only thing I don't miss is all the head injuries. In fact, I'm doing an interview on Sunday about all the concussions I got.
Hey man, that's amazing though. How did you get into wrestling? What made you fall into wrestling?
Oh man, it was from the very first match I saw, dude. I'm watching. I think it wasn't even Raw at the time. It was WWF Prime Time. I think that's what it was called. And 2 dudes, you may have heard of them, were on the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, I already loved Ninja Turtles. I already loved, anything to do with fighting, So I'm watching these 2 guys, they're rocking their arms up and acting goofy as hell. And like, I didn't realize the guys they were wrestling were jobbers. I didn't know anything, but I remember that they were bigger. They were bigger than the Bushwhackers, and I was picked on like anyone else. I was, I was smaller at the time, and so when the Bushwhackers hit that battering ram and then got the 1, 2, 3, I shit you not, I was running around my house. Oh my God, they did this, and it wasn't like, but 10 seconds later that my mom told me the truth about wrestling. I didn't even get like 5 minutes of thinking it was real. But man, it was at that moment, like, I get pretty obsessive about stuff, and I was about 6 years old, and it was, until I was 18, till I went to college and did pro wrestling school. I mean, I was completely obsessed. I mean, I'm talking, if I missed wrestling, I had to read the results, or call my friend, man, what happened on SmackDown? Who's winning in the ratings? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it was really that first match. Like, I mean, I could tell you all of my favorite wrestlers, what made me love it more. But I was obsessed since that first match, dude. I was meant to do it. And honestly, I might not do it anymore, but I'm still passionate about it. And what I learned, all the things I gained from my career as a pro wrestler, I mean, I'm still using them in my life right now, whether it be teaching the kids in the classroom, doing a show for my campers, or just talking on my podcast, The Nostalgia Cafe. I use it for all those things, man.
Hey man, that's really cool. That's really cool. I remember when I got into wrestling, man. I don't remember the first match, but I know The Rock was my favorite superstar of all time, and just everything he did and just oozed charisma through the TV screen. And I was just on it, man. I just had to been watching Monday Night Raw. If I missed SmackDown, I knew I had to tape it. It was just big wrestling fan, man. Really big wrestling fan. You just mentioned your podcast, man, The Nostalgia Cafe. Tell me about your podcast.
Oh man, we are having dude. So I've been podcasting before, little local shows, but this show, like, I'm 38, my partner's 48, and we just dive into all things that were cool, retro, and we're just getting like these guests. Like, I can't believe these people, like, from my childhood are talking to us. We talk about, like, movie stars from back then or musicians. And each episode's its own theme. We got like little gimmicks going on in each episode. And man, just the chemistry I have with those 2 hosts. If you ever want, man, check out Nostalgia Cafe. We did a WrestleMania, the history of WrestleMania. So you might be interested in that episode. But like, that's not, we talked about the mall. We talked about back in the day, back before everyone was bubble wrapped, the toys we used to play with that could have killed us, it's like reliving my childhood doing that podcast, and hell yeah, it's a good time.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool, man. Just about everybody, got a podcast, but when you have that enthusiasm, and you have a co-host, also someone to chat with, to bring it all together, man. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So I would definitely, check out it, man. The Nostalgia Cafe, man. I would definitely do that.
Thanks, dude. And you mentioned the first person you noticed and that you really clung on to was The Rock, right?
Yeah.
See, that's one of the main things I learned during my time in wrestling. Steve Kern used to tell me this, and I just would watch, and I would critique. I would think to myself, okay, here's this dude over in Japan who's bleeding like crazy, and that's a bad example. I should talk about like a cruiserweight or something like that. This dude's just doing something crazy, and the people, they're cheering, they're going, holy shit, but are they like as into it as The Rock when he just raises his eyebrow up? And I would constantly question, like, what is it about someone like that? Why is it like the Stone Cold could walk to the ring and people will go ape shit, but then you get someone doing a triple backflip landing on their head and people go crazy, but then they forget you 10 seconds later. So, it's just, you learn how to find that charisma, how to read an audience. And like I was saying before, whether it's from podcasting, teaching, you just learn how to grasp people's attention, and work to get into their heart, You learn that if you really pay attention through wrestling, whether you do it or not, you can really learn that.
Yeah, you're right about that because, man, like I said, he just oozed charisma through the screen. And now today's wrestlers, you don't have that many that come across the screen that, would keep you really intrigued like a Stone Cold or The Rock, as they say. It would never be some, those guys again. But you're a former pro wrestler. What you think is, missing from, sort of wrestlers today that connect with the fans, that keep them engaged rather than, watching guys, do flips off the top rope?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked me that. So I actually, after I stopped wrestling, I became kind of bitter about it. It's like I didn't go as far as I wanted to in it. I felt like I could have done better. I didn't play the politics right. That's probably my biggest thing. But I got back into it because my kids, I want my kids to enjoy wrestling like I did. So as of the last 2 years, I've been catching up on the basically almost a decade that I missed, I missed Jeff Hardy winning the title. That's a bummer for me because I grew up on Jeff. Why are they jobbing out Jeff, by the way? But anyways, forget that. So when I came back, the first thing I thought was like, wow, man, some of this is really evolved. Like some of the moves, some of the matches, I'm like, holy crap. Like I thought I was pretty fast paced and intense. Some of these guys are like next level, but you're right. It's like, I don't see anyone close to a Stone Cold or a Rock or a Hogan or Randy Savage. What I think is missing, God, let me just make this example.
Okay.
I thought this was a beautiful spot and it was wasted. I'm talking about, did you see the spot a few weeks ago where, what's his name? Ricochet and John Morrison, where he springboards into John Morrison. John Morrison goes flying back. Yeah. Why the hell was that on Raw? Like, if that's on Raw, what are we building up to? Like, back in the day, they used to build things. Back before fans knew all that, this and that, and read it all online. Like, you would build. And then when a pay-per-view actually came about, like, holy shit, man, there were things to remember and talk about.
You're right.
Nowadays, it's like they're killing themselves every single week. It's so fast-paced. Like, don't get me wrong. When I became a wrestler, a lot of the old school guys then were like, oh, the new wrestling sucks. ECW ruined everything and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, man, it's the evolution. But honestly, like, there's gotta be, you have to have the well-rounded product. You've got to be able to talk. You've got to be expressive. You've got to know how to connect with the fans, and you have to put on a match. And when I say put on a match, I'm talking like maybe not Bret Hart style nowadays, but an essence of it where it really is a slow build. And stop worrying so much at every single second. Are people going to be bored? Or is there going to be a boring chant? Or whatever it is. It's any good story. If you start off with the climax right at the beginning of a story, why are you going to finish the story? There's got to be some kind of build. And all I'm seeing in like 90% of the matches, it's almost like they memorize the whole thing. It's like spot, 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 spot. It's like a stunt show rather than a storytelling of a fight. And I don't, I think that there's some good ones. Like, I know, Edge is fantastic. Randy Orton, oh God, dude, talk about someone who's become amazing. Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's a guy, because I stopped watching, I almost missed out on, but he's a great storyteller. But they're just, I don't know. I think for one, storytelling, and two, you just got to find that gimmick. You got to find and it's harder now. Yeah. Like with all the smart marks online, they boo you if you're a face, cheer you if you're a heel. But in my mind, I know there's a way. There's a way you can find to surpass all that. Like Stone Cold, he figured it out at the time. He was the perfect guy. Like 10 years before that, I don't know if Stone Cold would have worked, or 10 years, I don't know. But he was the perfect gimmick for that time. There's got to be the same thing now. At least, I mean, I know you don't think, at least you said you don't think it'll ever be back to that. I don't think it will be, but I don't think the possibility, I think it is entirely possible it could come back like that.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It's a possibility that it can come back. I think today's, wrestlers, like you said, what are they building towards if you get a Ricochet jumping off the top rope and, landing basically front row on John Morrison? The spot was cool though, but it's like, it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing though, but everything is so rushed. Every 4 weeks is a pay-per-view. Right after a pay-per-view, I think it was, what was the last pay-per-view? I think it was WrestleMania. I don't remember, but it was the pay-per-view before Money in the Bank. And the next night we're talking about Money in the Bank. Like you need some breathing room to build the characters for the shows. I mean, for the superstars, rather than trying to build towards your next pay-per-view. And, wrestling has changed, of course, and everybody wants to see everybody do 450s and Canadian destroyers and stuff like that, which is amazing. But I mean, it's not so amazing if they're not sold well, or if there's no story told behind it. And, if I'm doing a Canadian destroyer on you and you get up like 2 minutes later and super kick me, then what's the point? Like what's the point? Like, I really don't understand it though. But yeah, man, today's wrestling has evolved. Roman Reigns, like we were saying, he's like the only guy who's come close to a storytelling. He's did a total 360 and evolved since he, the whole pandemic stuff or whatever, and he returned. But he's great at that. So like, I don't know. I really don't know. Some people may, look at me crazy when I say this though, but it's this guy NXT, LA Knight, who I got a whole lot of hopes for. And he's just, the way he come off is similar to The Rock in a way. I don't know if anybody can catch it, but I just do. Maybe I'm a big Rock fan. I don't know. But LA Knight is, someone who could be a really big star. But
why do you think people are going to hate on that? Has he not like even had a push yet, so people can see how good he is? Yeah,
I don't think people, really, seen him a lot, really know who he is, and then probably because he's just in NXT. So a lot of like you said, wrestling marks. Wrestling marks are kind of like running the business a lot. But
yes, yeah. Man, they changed the whole thing.
Yeah. Whole 360, man. Whole 360. You talked about you were in wrestling and you left out of wrestling. What kind of made the transition for you?
So I had moved to become just like a teacher. So back in the day, I just started owning my own school about 5 years ago. But at the time I became a teacher, and it was real cool, man. Like I could have my students would come to my shows. They'd go crazy. But to be honest, man, I've had like a lot of concussions, and like it's hard for me because I was so young to remember how I was before. But it's a known thing amongst my friends and family that like my memory is just, it's gone. It's so crazy that some people supposedly tell me a story, and then a couple weeks later I'll could re-listen to the story like it's the first time I heard it. So once I started seeing like some things with my concussions, it was time to slowly part ways. And I'm not saying I'm done forever. Like I'm even talking about doing a show up here, as long as it's with the right person. I just love the art of it. but I also don't want to just, back in the day, you know, when you're young and you've been watching wrestling, you've been dreaming about your whole life. You're like, I'll do anything. I want to go in there. I'll do whatever I can, you know. And you realize older, well, shit, you know, maybe I shouldn't have taken that power bomb on concrete in front of 5 people, you know. So I just got out of it just from the injuries. And another thing, man, with the backstage politics, I always thought, like my whole life, that when I would get backstage, that those would be my people, you know. And I'm sure in different territories or whatever they call it now, there's a different camaraderie or whatever. But when I was wrestling, it really felt backstage that, you know, everyone was for themselves. Everyone wanted themselves to go over, rather than like, you know, be a team and try to help each other out. It was really, each person was about themselves, at least the people who were on top. And you know how that goes. You know, once those people are on top, like at WCW at the end of the WCW days, you know, it just trickles down throughout the whole locker room. So I was just kind of tired of it, man. And I'm finally, it took me like 8 years really to start watching with my kids and realize like, nah, you know, I still love this and I'd like to get in the ring again and have some fun with it. It'd be different this time, you know, but it's still, I would be better now knowing what I know now than I was back then, back when I could do backflips, you know?
Yeah, man. That's really, really interesting story, man. Of course, you know, I've never been a wrestler, never been, you know, backstage with none of the guys, but I hear a lot of the stories about, you know, there's no friends in wrestling. And of course, you know, when you're a part of a roster, I guess, you know, with 20 other guys, 30 other guys, you would think it would be a team, right? You know, like, you know, we're all a part of this. We want to, you know, help this brand grow and such and such to that, you know, but hey, there's a lot going on in wrestling. How do you feel about them? Well, at least WWE, to say, how you feel about them not doing, you know, headshots with chairs? Because I think that's the main thing that they stopped doing for concussion.
I was blown away by that. I just found that out. Like, you know, I just finally said to my friend, I said to David Mercury, I was like, what? No one takes chair shots anymore, at least to that. He's like, yeah, it's been banned. Was that because of a specific one that happened?
I don't know what was it. What really was it though? Because I like when they do it, you know, in other promotions though, because I thought that was something, you know, you look forward to, but obviously, you know, it's, you know, real dangerous for, you know, the wrestlers or whatever. But I don't know what moment was it that they decided, yo, you know what, we're gonna stop the headshots though. But I don't know.
To me, it's risk or reward. Like, there's so many different things that happen in WWF that when I was wrestling, I would much rather take a chair to the head. Like, don't get me wrong, dude. Some of those chair shots will ring your bell. But like I said, there's dummies out there who every night for $10 will take a chair shot to the head. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that. Like, this is a huge show for me. Okay, I'll do a chair shot if it means something, if it's special, you know. You don't just give a chair shot out like you give, like, you know, a slam. It should be major. I really feel that way. And we live in this society now where like instant gratification. And I don't know, you know, I don't want to say I could do Vince's job better than he could. He's the master. But sometimes I wonder, like, man, like, don't you see that, like, everything is rushed? What you said about the pay-per-views, this is crazy. Back in the day, to watch a pay-per-view, I would watch it on that scramble vision. Yes. I would just listen to it. When Owen Hart died, I didn't know what was going on because I was watching it through scramble vision. 3-4 hours, I would just sit there and just listen, basically. Wow. Yeah, man. But that's back when it was like Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and maybe another one here and there. Now it's like they have as many pay-per-views as they have Raws. It's like my kids who are new wrestling fans, even after like the last pay-per-view, I can't even remember which one. They were like, man, I don't feel like watching this one. Could you imagine back in the day, you could have watched a pay-per-view just because your parents bought it, and you'd be like, nah, I don't feel like watching this one.
Man, no, man, I couldn't at all. Back in the days, man, I totally remember that, the Scramble TV. I remember it was Judgment Day 2000. I'll never forget it. and it was the Iron Man match between Triple H and The Rock, and it was, I don't even think they scored a pinfall. I think I don't know, but it was an Iron Man match close to the end, and I didn't understand who the music was or anything, but people went wild, and it was The Undertaker. Man, I remember watching every pay-per-view like that on the scrambled TV, man. I definitely remember that.
You couldn't miss it because there wasn't another one in 3 weeks. This was the one to watch.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And that's all about storytelling, being, so rushed. And back to storytelling with the chair shots. When you did see the chair shots, it was like you said, it meant something. It told a story. You feel me? It was like when the story was getting to another level, then boom, a chair shot to the head. It was not you don't see it like you see it now. And now when you see it, the wrestlers are more expecting it, especially the chair shot towards the back and stuff like that. So
yeah, the ones bouncing off the back don't have the same feeling.
Yeah. But you guys know we're gonna move on here on Talk Pro Wrestling. You mentioned Benny Mac, Vince McMahon. How you feel about the WWE nowadays and the direction they're going towards now that Friday night they're having fans back in the arenas and also for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, they got to get fans back. That's another thing. Is like when I started watching wrestling was not too long before the pandemic. So like, dude, those first shows where there was nobody there and it was just silent. Oh, so painful to watch. What do I think about his? I'm not a fan of I feel like he's probably making, a ton of money, or at least he will be once he's selling out arenas again. But man, I would like the product just to be better. Like, I feel like we're watching the same. There's no reason to not miss. It's like the stories aren't cool enough. It's not must see at all. There are a few things going for it. Look, I gotta say, the way they've used Roman, like, I was not a Roman fan. Like, I was catching up on all the Roman stuff, and I was like, this is the guy they've been pushing. Like, people boo him. Like, no, he's got this cheesy whatever. It was all cheesy. And suddenly they figured it out for him because he's got the look. So what they're doing with Roman, and they keep putting him over. Like, I'm sure they're building to some big WrestleMania moment. That's been fantastic. The way they've used Randy and the way Randy is like changed it up during the pandemic has been like off the charts good. But like, is there any face that like I get excited to win, or like kind of like a little bit, but not like before, especially not at the beginning where it was like, a Hogan or a Warrior or something like that. A win for them on a pay-per-view. It's like we still talk about those wins to this day. But wins that have happened over the last year, I don't know. Maybe the one with the girls at WrestleMania. That one felt good.
Sasha,
Bianca Belair.
Yeah,
that was the only match I saw like within a year where I was like, that's the feeling. Like, good. That's the feeling we need as wrestling fans. I was happy for her.
Yeah, totally happy for both of them. They won the ESPY Award, best WWE moment this year at WrestleMania. So kudos to Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Now we're respecting fans back when we passed the Thunderdome. Let me get it right. The Thunderdome era. How did you feel about it? How did you perceive it once you saw it?
Oh man, I thought it was the best they could do.
It was the best they can do because I always talk about the last show they had fans were actually here in DC. And then the next week there was like, it's 316 week and Stone Cold is going to be on Monday Night Raw. Then everything shut down. And then that first Raw with Stone Cold. Oh, it was awful. Awful.
But so painful to watch.
Yeah.
Respect to those guys for going out there and just do something no one's done before, though.
Yeah.
But man, was it awkward. Yeah, I went to the show right before that other one. I took my kids to what was it? The Elimination Chamber. I think it was right before that.
Okay.
And that was like, I'm like, gosh, guys, we gotta kind of see one of Undertaker's last performances in front of an audience.
Yeah,
that
was
but
cool.
Yeah. You know what though? I gotta be 100% honest. I don't want this podcast, this interview, to come across like I'm bashing it and I don't like it. Like, wrestling's an art, and it has its highs and its lows. And for a guy like Vince to be in this game, I mean, he's the king. Like, he is the king. And I don't know. Like, I think things could be better, but I respect the man for just keeping that ball rolling, because keeping any business afloat for this long is crazy. But the WWE, like, he's just held it down like a boss,
Yeah.
And I do miss it. I miss it like crazy.
Yeah. I miss it, man. I miss it. I was watching Raw this past Monday, and wasn't too much to talk about. The only thing that was trending or so that I was hoping MVP did not beat up Bobby Lashley did not beat up MVP. Bobby Lashley, of course, got sick and tired of partying with the ladies and having fun. He's want to be back to business after losing to Xavier Woods on Monday Night Raw. But other than that, man, I'm excited. Like I said, I was watching Raw and they showed the commercial when they were welcoming back all the fans, and one of the cities were Washington, D.C. on the Super Show, tour and all that. So
why are the tickets so expensive up here? Tickets are so much cheaper everywhere else.
How much are they? How much are they? Because I was waiting till the Friday to actually see what the prices are for them.
Cheapest ones that I saw, at least where I live, were like 130 a piece. And then I went like to any other show, and it was like the cheapest ones were 50.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Yo, just a little fun fact. David Mercury and we won the NWA Florida tag titles by beating a guy named Scoot Andrews and Antonio Banks. And you know who Antonio Banks is?
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Yeah, the name sounds real familiar. I believe I do.
That's the name MVP used to use. We beat MVP right before he became MVP.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I see you worked with a lot of WWE guys before on the indie scene, before they came in the WWE.
Yeah, bro. Some of them, it was great to meet. Some of them, not so much, but like a few of them that I really, man, Randy Savage was exactly what you would expect Randy Savage to be if you met him in person, I was with him. It was so crazy. We were doing this battle royal. They had hired Randy, a mortgage company. This is crazy, dude. A mortgage company hired Randy to pick out a bunch of wrestlers and do a battle royal where this monster would come out called the Mortgage Monster. And Randy the Mortgage Monster eliminates everybody, and then Randy beats up the Mortgage Monster. And so I was in there for like 10 seconds. I made like $160, the fastest $160 I ever made. But before the match, dude, it was the day after Elizabeth passed. And he was looking at me and he's like, man, Sam, can you believe it about Elizabeth? All I could think about it was like, I can't believe I'm talking to you the day after Elizabeth died. Like, this is so surreal. But he was cool. Big Show smacked me in the face once. That kind of changed my life. I learned, yeah. After he did that, I learned I shouldn't take shit from anybody. Yeah, I don't know. I got a list, dude. I brought my list of all the guys I got to work with. It's a pretty long list, man. One of my concussions came from, do you know Roderick Strong?
Yes.
Bro, it was just for a practice match. We were just practicing, and holy crap, it was the spot where I was hitting him with the 10 punches in the corner. He pulled me off and powerbombed me. But God, man, that guy loves that Strong style.
Yeah. Roger Strong is something else, man. I met Big Show one time. He tried to drive my chair for me though at one point though, but the Big Show is real cool. He's a real cool guy. Man, that's real cool to know, man. But we're gonna move on. You guys here on Talk Pro Wrestling. You said you're a teacher now. You're a teacher?
Well, now I'm kind of like a principal. Like, okay, I own the school and I own the summer camp. Yeah, it's real cool. Okay. It's like a dream come true.
Okay, what you do?
So it's a preschool, but during the summer, like right now, the summer camp goes all the way up to 14. So I get these kids that start off in preschool. I get to watch them grow each year. They come back for summer camp, and like we do a podcast here too. I don't know if anyone wants to hear it, but it's the Camp Tuscaloosa podcast, and we have fun on there. Just trying to, get the kids out there, like learning public speaking and how to talk on the mic. I know I would have really loved that when I was a kid, so okay. I've been doing that with the kids. And yeah, dude, we put on shows. I find ways to throw in some wrestling stunts. You know what I love to do, man, is that everyone loves me here. But when it comes time for when it's show time and my counselors are all competing, I turn on the heel mode. I go pure 1980s heel, and I get the kids booing me like crazy, and I put over the baby face. Dude, it's fun. It's really fun.
That's cool, man. That's cool. It seems like you got a real cool, man, sense of humor, man. I can tell. You said you said one day you want to get back into the ring. You ain't done. What's one thing you would love to accomplish, before you wrap it on up and say that's
just it? Really, honestly, just a final way to bow out. What might be happening is a local promoter here is thinking about booking me and David Mercury, my old tag partner. So if I could have like a good swan song, my last match was not to bash any of my opponents, but it was against this really hairy dude. I mean, like he was sweaty and hairy. Like think of the A-Train, that dude. Yeah, A-Train times 10. That's all I can think of. Yeah. So he was like that times 10. George the Animal Steel, think that. Okay. And the match wasn't good. The crowd was dead. And I was like, really? Like, this is my final match? And so I've been waiting. It's been like 7 or 8 years since that one, but I got a good one left in me. So hopefully if I could work David Mercury in front of a good audience, my kids, that's the big one. If my kids can see me wrestle, that'd be special.
Yeah, that'd be really, 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 really special. Hey, yo, Sam, man, I appreciate you joining me this week here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Hey, yo, before you go, any questions, any shout outs, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for listening to this. Make sure you rate this dude's podcast. He's killing it. Check out my show, The Nostalgia Cafe. We got something for everyone in there. And yeah, man, I just want to say thanks. This was a lot of fun.
No problem, man. Anytime, man. You're welcome back in on it anytime. Like I said, it's every time I do these podcasts, man, whether it's, the main podcast or the wrestling podcast, I always, love to connect and vibe with people, man, like-minded people. And, once everything get cleared up and, as far as the pandemic and traveling goes, all that, you're another guy that's on the list, man, that I would love to, meet, one day. So I appreciate you, man, and keep doing your thing at the school, man, and with the kids, man, and hopefully, man, we can get back to some wrestling, events, man, soon. So I appreciate you, Sam.
Yeah, likewise, brother. Very much so.
All right.
Everyone has something to say, a story to tell. We make it easy to share yours. So let's talk.
Regardless of your podcast setup, hit record. And from there, whether your podcast reaches 10 people or 10 million, we can help you get heard wherever listeners are.
And who knows, maybe even quit your day job.
But no matter who hears you, it's about connecting and sharing something from your perspective.
It's about having a voice and using it without anything standing in your way. Say it all with Anchor.
Yo, Sam, man, I appreciate you joining me this week here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Man, it was an awesome time chatting with you, man. You just had nothing but energy, man, just coming across, man. I love it, man. I love guys, man, I can talk to, just have, nothing but stories, man. The story with you in the Battle Royal with Macho Man, Randy Savage, man, that's what really awesome. And also, man, yo, everybody out there, man, you remember watching wrestling, man, on the Scramble TV? You just try to make it out a little bit. I was just talking about that a couple of weeks ago with one of my guests, man. And yes, I remember that, man. It was what, channel 98? Well, I'm from DC. It was like 98 or whatever, 99. Man, you put it on that jump, man. And the only time it would come clear is when the pyros went off. So maybe like the intro or like Kane to come out, it'll come clear for a hot second. But it'll just be scrambled. So I'll just be sitting there listening. But man, he just said he was listening the day that Owen Hart passed. Like, that is mind-boggling, man. Like, That's wild. Like, I know that's wild. And like, you just like, what happened? Like, you could so confused, man. Like, oh my goodness. Like, but man, for me, with so many times, I just remember like The Rock, Triple H, Iron Man match is coming down to the wire, man. And of course, DX out there, they doing their thing, all interference and all that stuff, man. And some music hit. And of course, I don't think it was Limp Bizkit off the top, but it may have been. But man, that was my favorite version of The Undertaker, man. I wish I was able to experience that live, the American Badass. But of course, I got to see Taker, of course, before he, wrapped up his career. But man, awesome time chatting with you, man. The Nostalgia Cafe. You guys go check out the Nostalgia Cafe podcast, wherever you get your podcasts is at, man. Sam, man, keep doing your thing with the kids and being a teacher, man, and everything, man. So shout out to you, my guy. You're welcome back here anytime, whenever you want to come back on and talk some pro wrestling, man. Which, man, Dre on wheels, man. It was fun, man. It was really fun. It's Friday, you guys. Yes, man. I'm on my way onto a road trip on Richmond, Virginia, you guys. So I'll let you know how this went next Friday, or if you watch the main podcast on Wednesdays, I definitely will keep you up with that, you guys. But also, you guys know, before I go, man, like I said, it is Friday, you guys, and tonight it's the return of the fans, man. In Houston, Texas, it's going down. I know they're gonna be sold out. Every time SmackDown or WWE went to Houston, they did the damn thing, and I know they're gonna do the damn thing tonight on SmackDown, you guys. Just like you guys, man. When I heard about this match, I didn't even see Talk of Smack, but when I heard about the match, you guys, man, I was like, yo, do you understand the magnitude? Do you understand the magnitude of this match? Now, you guys, I'm talking about, let me catch my breath. I'm talking about, you guys, Edge. Yes, Edge's return. He made a shocking return. Wasn't it last year? No, not last year. The year before last, I believe. And blew everybody's mind away. I heard a little bit, maybe Edge was returning, but it shocked me when he hit that spear, that SummerSlam prior to when he returned. So I was like, every time Edge did anything return, he never did anything physical. So I was like, okay, that's maybe a sign to come. Okay, then we got Rey Mysterio, you guys, which he's also on his way out. You can see Rey don't really get around the ring as he want to or used to. And also his son Dominic. Come on, you guys, man, if we've been keeping up with wrestling, let's take it back to 2002, where Rey Mysterio was killing it. He was one of the guys who Paul Heyman kind of like handpicked to be the guys, the front center stars of SmackDown in 2002-ish, It was Edge, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, all those guys, man. Of course, you had The Undertaker there, but also we not going to forget the main, that storyline between Rey and Eddie and Dominic in the middle, but now to see him all grown up and now to be in the ring, this is going to be his first time in front of a live crowd wrestling with his dad and their SmackDown Tag Team Champions, to say the least. Just like, come on. Then they're going up against the Usos, who is by far the dopest and greatest tag team in this generation. Shout out to the New Day, but I mess with the Uso, man, for real. Before I finish though, no, I'm gonna go ahead. But I you know what? Before I finish, because I don't want to forget. You guys, man, for all you fans out there, man, you like, come on, man. Fans are so wild nowadays, bro. Like, for real. Like, that's why I'm really not on Twitter like that. Like, I be on there, but I don't really like be on there like that. But come on, man. Shout out to Naomi, man. Shout out to Trinity Fatu. Like, y'all fans really bully her and talked about, man, it's her fault that my man Jimmy got the DUI, man. Like, really though? Like, come on. Like, I understand. Oh, man. Shout out to Naomi, man. Shout out to Trinity Fatu. But like I said, man, Usos one of the dopest tag teams of this generation, man. And they approaching 7-time tag team champs. Can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome. And the Usos are Rikishi's sons. We all remember Rikishi when he backed that ass up in the corner. Or we remember Rikishi with, I did it for The Rock. I did it, like, come on. Like, I didn't even know they was cousin at that point. But the simple matter of fact is, though, and I mentioned The Rock, we got Roman Reigns and with all the, the story between them two, maybe having a match at WrestleMania next year, they're cousins. They're all cousins. So, man, like, come on, bro. The magnitude of this 6-man tag team match tonight is everything. So, hope it be dope, man. And also, we got Bianca Belair defending her SmackDown Women's Championship, yes, against Carmella. My guy, Kawam, asked me, he was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. He was like, man, who you think is going to replace Bayley? Oh, man, that was a sad situation. And the crazy thing is, man, hey, I'm not going to try to do too much speculation, though, but they didn't really say what was her injury was. I don't know. Maybe, they wanted to keep that a secret, though, but she's going to be out for 9 months, man. Sad, really sad. She's going to miss SummerSlam. And she was, I was tired of the Bianca and Bayley thing, but I mean, like, I really didn't want to see this happen to Bayley, man. She worked her ass off, especially in the last year and a half. Man, or the last 2 or 3, come on. But we got Carmella is going to take Bayley's spot to take on Bianca Belair. He was like, man, who do you think will, replace Bayley? I said Carmella easily. Who else? Who else they got? Just like my man Sam said, man, they're using this the same thing. I seen something on social media, the percentage of rematches on TV, with AEW being the least, is being the show that has the least amount of rematches on TV, and Raw and SmackDown being the number 1 and 2. With AEW, with Impact Wrestling and other promotions in that poll or post as well. It's just too much. Too many rematches, man. Too many rematches. And, of course, they release so many superstars. What can they do? What can they do? But SmackDown is going to be lit. We also going to see who is going to take that final spot in the Money in the Bank women's contract match. Speaking of the Money in the Bank, is this Sunday, you guys. I'm excited, man. For my Money in the Bank predictions, I'm going to say for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, poor Naomi. I want Naomi to win something. Like, they keep doing Naomi like she ain't nothing. Like, put some respect on her name, though. Like, I want Naomi to win it, but like, possibilities of it, we don't know. But Zelina seems like a favorite. But I don't know who's that final pick. But whoever's that final pick, maybe them or Zelina. But I definitely will go with Naomi. My man's Money in the Bank, you guys. I want Kevin Owens to win this. Kevin Owens deserves this. A lot of guys may feel like they deserve this or whatever. A lot of fans may feel like a lot of other guys may deserve this, but I feel like Kevin Owens has busted his ass for the last how long, man? And he just haven't been KO since he came into WWE and took out John Cena. He just haven't been the same guy. I mean, he went up against Roman Reigns for a little while at Royal Rumble. Like, that was cool and all, but he just haven't been the same. Him and Sammy, great matches. They're best friends. They're going to kill it. But, like, we don't really need to see them keep going one-on-one. If anything, like, I was going to say, if anything, make them tag team champs or, but no. Like, have KO, do something. And I would love to see that. But, if not KO, I feel like they're going to pull the trigger on Big E, man. It's going to be Big E, and Big E, is going to lay down his promise, because he's going to come out the Roman Reigns. He won that Universal Championship. So, we're going to see how that one go. But, I say Kevin Owens. My pick is KO. KO. Also, we got on Money in the Bank, you guys. We have Kofi Kingston challenging Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Yo, my man Bobby going all the way. Yo, this is just something, I guess, put Kofi back in the mix. Like, they ain't really got too many superstars that they can work with. So it's like, okay, Kofi over there, he's the former WWE champion. We done with Drew McIntyre. Like, we can move him to the side. He's working with Jinder Mahal, which that's going to turn into a cool rivalry, which a lot of people don't really care from Jinder. But, fans are fans, man. I love to see superstars grow. You look at the magnitude of Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre, that is huge. I mean, Heath Slater, I'm pretty sure he may be still an Impact, but come on, that is huge. These guys were 3MB. 3MB. Look at their picture from 6, 7, 8 years ago or whatever. Look at their picture. I think it was probably 10 years ago. Probably. Look at the picture. They look totally nothing alike. So they evolving and stuff like that is great, man. But yeah, Bobby Lashley is gonna lay down Kofi Kingston, man. You know, Bobby, I'm glad you back to being the real Bobby, man. I was just saying, like, man, who's on Raw that's, you know, that's like bringing that star power, that's bringing that it factor, man. Like, Bobby ain't really doing it for me. You know, a lot of people say Drew ain't neither, but you know, Bobby, you know, but like he got to be more serious. He don't need the women around. He don't need to be doing all of that. He just need to be kicking ass. He's Bobby. He's a, you know, man, what? Come on, man. He's Bobby. Another one, Edge versus Roman Reigns. This is going to be a very interesting one because I am loving the fact that, you know, this Wednesday on the bump, Edge was on the bump. He was the first guest, you know, there this week's episode, and he came on sort of how Seth Rollins came on the bump weeks prior, you know, with his glasses, you know, with the drip that Seth Rollins, you know, do and stuff. So I love, you know, throughout all of this, they are building between Seth Rollins and Edge. Like, that is going to be good. You feel me? Like, that is good, you know, from Seth Rollins saying, no, man, you know, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, you guys chose me. No, we really didn't choose you. We didn't pick nobody. No, but you chose me. He didn't do it. Like, all of it is great. You know, everything from Edge and the segment with Seth last Friday, you know, was, hey, I love where they're going, man. So Money in the Bank is going to be really cool, man, in front of fans, you guys, in front of a live crowd, man. So I'm looking forward to everything going down at Money in the Bank, you guys. Yes, man. NXT, man. Yo, the big question surrounding NXT this week is, what the hell was up with Mandy Rose? She back in NXT now? So she just forget Dana Brooke. She bye. Like, when she first popped up on the stage, you don't go here. You don't go here. Like, you don't go here. But like, man, like, I don't understand it, man. I really don't. I love NXT. But I remember when guys and girls didn't go back down to NXT, they moved up. But, of course, we always see the repeated cycle. When everybody goes up, they just get forgotten about. Like, I think one of the worst people who are just sort of forgotten about, and it's just like, is Shayna Baszler. She was a badass. Really a badass, though. You telling me Rhea Ripley is a more badass than Shayna Baszler? Even though Rhea Ripley was on the bump this past Wednesday, and she was talking about that's one person she would love to get in the ring and square up with. Me too. But come on. Y'all booking Shayna Baszler like she's scared of dolls and all this other bull crap. And whatnot. Like, come on, though. Like, come on, man. Other than NXT, man, I really dig the main event. Samoa Joe was the referee of the NXT Championship matchup, which was a cool matchup to say the least. Really not. Maybe it's gonna take some time, but you know, I like Scarlett though. But Karrion Kross got to still grow on me a little bit more though. I don't know. I think Johnny Gargano kind of like said it, you know, best over the last couple of weeks. Like, you know, you're a meathead, like you don't ooze any type of charisma. You're not making me give a crap, you know. Just like I was saying with Sam, you know, a little bit earlier, you know, like you know when he was a wrestler, you know, looking at Rock and looking at Stone Cold, like wow, man, what was it about those guys, man? Just you know, man, yeah, I can do a fucking 360 flip and maybe fuck up and you know, excuse my language or whatever, but just maybe mess up and land on my head and everybody, ooh man, but you know. They forget about me, but as soon as a guy come out there and just had that energy and that magnetic, you know, feeling with the crowd and the fans, and I can't find another word for it, but it's organic. It's just, and everybody was just like, yo, man, he was dope. But man, oh man, what else we got, man? Yeah, because NXT, man, just I would love to see guys come up. Like I would love to see Adam Cole on Monday Night Raw. You know, guys like maybe Johnny Gargano. I understand that a lot of people in the wrestling business, to say the least, there's one guy, can't think of his name right now, Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette is one guy who really don't see too much in Johnny Gargano or whatever, but you know, hey, it is what it is. But I would love to see some guys go up instead of going back. You know, on SmackDown, we seen Chauncey Blackheart was down there and they calling her just Chauncey. And we seen Tegan Knox, now they just calling her Knox on SmackDown, pick up the victory over the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So, like, why? See, I think that's there you go right there. They come up to the main roster and then they get their name taken. They get stripped of shit that they was, you know, in NXT. I don't even know what else to go with it. I really don't, you guys. Also, you guys, man, coming up this Saturday, we got Slammiversary going down. Yes, you guys, Impact Wrestling. Man, we got Kenny Omega defending the Impact Championship against Samuel Callahan, you guys, man. And a bunch of other matches. I really don't have the matches down in front of me, you guys. I know that's the main matchup that's going down. Obviously, Deonna Purrazzo will be defending her championship. It's going to be a huge X Division matchup that's going down. The return of the Ultimate X match, which I'm really looking forward to that. Also, you guys, it's a lot of things going on. Of course, Impact also said, you know, what happened last year with the whole release, the Black Wednesday, and, you know, they picked up some guys, even though AEW was doing the same thing also. But hey, man, we'll see. We'll see where it goes, man. This coming weekend, man, it's going to be a lot, man. I think from here on out, we got Friday, today, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Nothing but straight wrestling, you guys, all the way up until next Friday, you guys. I'm about to head on out of here. I hope you guys enjoy every last bit of it on this short little vacation over the weekend. I hope I enjoy nothing but it, man, and the vacation also. But I can't wait to come back to you guys next Friday to tell you all about it and tell you, man, to get you up, man, on some pro wrestling, man, and everything. With the fans are back, man, so I'm seeing pictures on social media with MLW and Ring of Honor. They got their fans back too, so I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. I was catching up on some Ring of Honor too the other night, watching Jonathan Gresham defend his Pure Championship. You know, I really love them moves right there. You know, you use all your rope breaks, man. That's just like 2K, bro. You use all your reversals or your finish. Yeah, your reversals, you ain't got no more, bro. You can't reverse at all, man, at all. But yo, man, I'm about to head on out of here, man. For real, I'm about to head on out of here at this time, you guys. I hope you guys stay safe and blessed. But you guys, man, before I go, you know what time it is, man. Don't forget to follow the 1130 Podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Dre on Wheels. Follow me on Instagram at the 1130 Podcast. Like the 1130 Podcast on Facebook. Subscribe. Yes, make sure you go subscribe to the 1130 Podcast on YouTube. You dig? Yes, man. I'm up to like 1,100 subscribers, man. About to close in on 10,000 views. Yo, we pushing at it, man. So go subscribe, man, and make sure you tell somebody, man, about the 1130 Podcast. And also, you guys, man, the 1130 Podcast talk pro wrestling. Yes, this podcast, you guys, each and every Friday, man, here, like we are, man. So it's here on Friday, man. Make sure you tell somebody about talk pro wrestling, man, and subscribe. Follow me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts at, man. I appreciate it. And leave a 5-star rating and a review, man. And also, if you would like to be a guest here on the podcast, email me. That's the 1130 Podcast at gmail.com, or just DM me on social media, man, so we can work, man. Just like my man Sam, he reached out to me, man. He was like, yo, man, Eddie Torres was on, man. That's my guy right there. Yo, man, I want to be on your podcast, man. I dig it. I love it, man. And yo, we made it happen today, man. So, yo, if you dig the podcast and you want to chat some pro wrestling, or if you're an independent pro wrestler, ring announcer, whatever, all wrestling, man, here each and every Friday on Talk Pro Wrestling. Get at me. We gonna work, man. And yo, the 1130 Podcast main show, you guys, each and every Wednesday on EB Radio, streaming on EB Radio and YouTube at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it, man. We're closing into the 100th episode of the 1130 Podcast, man. So tune in, man, and download the free EB Radio app now. For real. Yo, hope everybody enjoyed the rest of their day and their weekend, man. And I'm out there for the third time. I'm for real this time. Yo, stay blessed, man. Give all the glory to God, you guys. And stay cool, because it's hot out there, man, for real. Yo, it's your man Dre, a.k.a. Dre on Wheels. Now I'm out.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one.
He the one, nigga.
So let's breeze, baby.
He the one.
Who with me?
So breeze, baby.
Let's get it. You with me? Yeah, they gon' hate, but they ain't stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre and Wills, you know it ain't no copying. Was you sitting there on the carpet with us? Yeah, we knew we had some options. We blessed, we ain't got them problems. Speak something that I gotta be honest. Told him he was gonna blow, and that's my promise.